everyone. So we have some lovely juicy rump steaks here, very tender. I've been going to the same butcher and fishmonger for that matter for the last 15 years religiously. They always serve up very fresh, very lovely Australian beef. And my style of cooking this today will be to roast it. It's my favorite way in which to cook rump. And my rump goes in the oven for, I would say, maybe 4 hours on a bed of carrots as my stilts, just to give it that, opportunity to bathe in the broth. So normally I cook it in vegetable broth instead of beef broth, but do what you please. Some people even take chicken stock and use it in beef. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. You do what you pleases you. Over here, look, I was going to also mention that I have spiced a few minutes ago this rump prior to me starting to film. It's when I realized to say, oh, I should probably throw this in as well, shouldn't I? So I decided to pause, grab my camera, and then get started once again. So I was just going to say, this would typically be spiced and I would leave it to marinate overnight. So at this stage, I'll be cooking this after work, and this will marinate very nicely in the fridge. So what I've got here is the Grill Mates mixed seasoning. I've got some crushed garlic there, a drop of Tabasco, as well as salt flakes and pepper in a pepper mill here. So these two have gone in already. Well, when I say two, I mean salt, but I haven't actually used the pepper bit. So what I'll do is I'll add the crushed garlic into my olive oil there. And then what I'll do is, because just to make sure that it's actually lathered nicely, what I normally do would be to take the shaker, go from side to side in a flat dish like this pan that I'm using right now. And then the next stage is normally for me to have a different mix in there of the second half of items that I want to be able to marinate and cover appropriately all this meat. And while in this dish, I'll have these steaks, because they are too large to just cook all that, to cook intact. It makes more sense for me to have this in thirds and then mix it up nicely in the olive oil with the remaining spices. Then once that is done, glad wrap into the fridge, if that makes any sense. So I'll just get into it and I'll show you the next stage. Okay, so as you can see in here, I've got my olive oil, I've got my crushed garlic, a few drops of Tabasco. I can't make it too hot because there are kids who would be eating this. We don't have a high threshold tolerance for chili in this house, so we like our food flavorsome, spicy but not hot. So black pepper in there, that's plenty, and I'll probably chuck in it just a bit more of this Grill Mates all-purpose seasoning, 100% spice, no salt, which is fantastic. And we will get that mixing. So only because I don't want to manhandle, lack of a better term, this meat, I prefer to do it in stages, which is simply, like I explained before, I grab the bottles of spice that I want to use and flip them from side to side with each and every piece. Having finished with that, this is the bath, lack of a better term, that I will slather all over the meat, and it will sit and marinate in that. So like I said before, these pieces of rump are way too big, so I'll go at them with my kitchen shears, and in they go. Pieces go. So there I go. That's all right, as is. The idea is you don't want a piece that can't fit on a normal dinner plate, if that makes sense. So some parts naturally are separated anyway, so I would go with that. I'm not looking to cut them into square pieces or anything like that, just to separate them into a decent size pieces. That's it. And ultimately we will achieve what we're looking for. So like I said before, all these have been spiced already directly from top to bottom, back to front. And now we've got that last stage of lathering them into this spice oil that I've created. And like I said, just like many of my recipes, they don't remain stagnant. I'm always trying different spices just to have a different taste at any given time. So basically that's how we do it. So when you don't want to use a chopping board, use your scissors. It goes a long way. So there's that. And I think I'm done with those items. So now with both clean hands, you start to mix them all together. That makes sense. Mix and mix and lather. Make sure every piece gets that scrumptious spicy oil, and make sure that olive oil goes all over. And the fact that you cut them now, it allows for the side of those cut pieces to actually absorb all those spices as it marinates for hours. And I'll come and cook it tomorrow after work. How about that? So hopefully you can see the point of us doing it this way. It just ensures that the spice is well spread around and generously covering every millimeter of these big pieces of beef rump. And I believe we've achieved what we're looking for. Your mix of spices is entirely up to your choice, and I think we're good to go. Okay, so this is the following day, back from work, and now doing this the next phase post my rump, which I'd marinated last night, has been in the fridge for several hours. And like I said, it will be roasting on a bed of carrots. So as you can see, these are peeled carrots sitting with the baking sheet, baking paper underneath, which helps, like I've said before, with keeping all the juices in, and helps with the cleaning, of course, thereafter. So as you can see, I've cut lengthwise these carrots so that they can sit, face forward, so that they are stable, obviously, when I actually lay the beef across this bed. This can be used for anything, fish, whatever it is that has tender flesh that you would like to slow cook in the oven. Once done, I'll be covering that with some foil. So this is basically what you have. So you peel your carrot and then you slice it lengthwise. So like I said, it would be cooking at, I would say, 100 degrees for maybe 4 to 5 hours, I would say, but I normally check at the 4-hour mark to see whether it needs a little bit more time. But this is where we're at. So we've got the carrot bed ready, and now just reach into the fridge and bring out the marinated beef and then lay it out. Okay, so we shall release that vacuum lid. Yes, it's quite the vacuum seal, so there we go. Off comes the lid, and I put that glad wrap just as an extra layer of airtight situation, just to ensure that those wonderful spices that we applied yesterday would have permeated really well right through these rump steaks. So you will notice that I've left some bit of fat there, and that renders off and pretty much dissolves, mostly being that it will be slow cooked, and all of it will drain to the base of the pan. So all you pick is nice tender juicy rump steaks 4 to 5 hours later, all cooked with most of the fat dissolved away. So you want this in just so you can retain that beefy flavor. So this is basically how I would line them up, one after the next. And not all of it will be cooked, but all of it has been pre-marinated, making it easy for the next time when I want to prepare the same dish, whether it's in a different way. The marinade would have gone through really well. So it's another tip that it helps to pre-marinate meat or chicken or whatever it is that you've got from the supermarket in advance before you freeze, so that the process of defrosting just allows for things to thaw and you're ready to cook. Whatever it is that needs marination, I advise you marinate as you know, the minute that it gets home. You clean it out, cut it up, marinate, and put it in the freezer. So this is the remaining rump steak, and I will go ahead and pack this away in the freezer in a suitable freezer friendly bag, and that'll be good to go for next time. So that's our pan, and I'll just douse that with some vegetable stock all the way up to, I would say, just about the meat level, just where the meat is. I'll fill it up there, cover it with Glad wrap, and we'll be in the oven for at 100 or 120 degrees for 4 to 5 hours. At the 4-hour mark, I would remove the foil so that it actually starts to brown, but it would have been all cooked and very soft. So now we pour in the vegetable stock, which is my choice. Like I said before, you can put whatever stock you want, chicken, beef, vegetable is my preference for this beef. And like I said, I get it to the level just around the level where the meat is at, and between the vegetable stock and the bed of carrots that it's sitting on, all the carrot flavors and the mixed vegetable stock that I've got here cooking in this bath for the next 4 to 5 hours, I tell you, it will be aromatic and incredibly tasty. So we'll just cover it now with some foil, and it will be ready for the oven. So here we go. It's in the oven, nice and hot, all fully sealed all around. As you can see, it's well secured, and at this point, having started out at the maximum just to get the oven nice and hot, I'll bring it down to, I would say, about 120. So that's where it will be for the next 4 hours. Regarding the foil, I always go for this brand, and particularly this size of foil. As you can see, it's quite a big pan, and the small domestic type of rolls of foil would take about 2 or 3 pieces just to cover it, but ultimately wouldn't give it a complete seal. So I abandoned using the supermarket size. I always go for the catering roll, be it Glad wrap, baking paper, or foil. I always go for the commercial size to just use one sheet and you're good to go. So we'll see you in 5 hours. Hello, 5 hours later. Out comes the pan. Whoa. 5 hours later, we've got ourselves slow cooked dish. Guys, the aroma's coming out of here. It's incredible. Look at this. It's buttery. Can you see? It'll literally fall apart if I were to lift it out of here without using a spatula of some sort. My goodness, look at that. It's like a knife through butter. Look at how tender. Look at that. It's beautiful. Smells fantastic. Now guys, you know how I'm big on making sure you don't throw anything away. So this is all cooked, ready to serve with any starch of your choice. Salad, sukuma wiki, you know, all the traditional vegetables of Africa can go with this slow roasted rump steak. And the bed of carrots can be served with it. I like to also use it to just blend it in have other mixed vegetables that I would lightly stir fry in a bit of butter, and then blend it with 1 tablespoon of cream, and that gives you with some of this stock, and that gives you a beautiful soup as well. So, and you can freeze it away for a day when you know you're tied up and you didn't quite. It gives you just extra options really on days where you have gaps of decisions of what you want to do and who wants to have what in the house. So this is pretty much finished, ladies and gentlemen. It smells fantastic. I wish you could come and join us, but look, let's make a date. Comment down below if you're in Melbourne, pop over. Let's have a meal together. Otherwise, for your sake, I can tell you it tastes fantastic. Oops. There you go. Now a taste of this. Just melts in your mouth. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that's the Afro menu for today. Okay folks, so now for the delicate process of taking our rump steaks out of the pan. We will use a fish slice, in this case anything that has more of a flat base as opposed to tongs that would just pinch and it would automatically disintegrate is what you'd use. So you'd, you know, any you know, serving dish of your choice, given this is not food being eaten right away. This is for tomorrow, so it'll go in this lunchbox that will allow for it to cool before we refrigerate. So this is how we go about our delicate steaks. They smell so nice. You can see some of the meat is just falling off, but you know, that's the effect that you want. That's the whole point of slow cooking. The point of slow cooking is to tenderly have heat go through your chosen meats. And if this was, you know, one of a chuck or a T-bone or a roast, it would just be falling off the bone. Now it's rump, so there are no bones involved, obviously. So here we go. So that's what we have, ladies and gentlemen. This will feed, I don't know, 6 very hungry people. Some vegetables, and just so it doesn't dry out, I would prefer to have some of those juices out of here to just go on there so it doesn't, you know, dry out in the fridge. Otherwise, on a typical day, this would simply go straight to the table to serve without the stock. But I'm applying the stock just so that it continues to sort of like bathe in the stock, if you will, while it's refrigerated, and I'll warm it in the same state and serve it on the table. And it'll give the smell, the taste of coming straight out of the oven when you put it together in this fashion. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have. Our beef stock is cooked. Like I said, these carrots, as you know, can be served with it, of course. And the other half, I choose to make a carrot and vegetable soup, which freezes pretty well, and it just offers anyone that intermediate snack when you're not looking to have anything heavy. So something airtight to cover and doesn't leak, which is a fantastic lunchbox. And I'll leave it there for some time to cool down and refrigerate. So ladies and gentlemen, it's all done. Thank you very much for your close attention and watching right through till the end. Until the next recipe.